philosophy of education must start with God and His relation to us, His image bearers. And this is precisely the starting point of our view of education at Enlightium. Education starts with the interpersonal relation of the educator and the educated, the divine and the divine image bearer. Education is between God and humanity. Education is a form of communion and fellowship with God. To start off Spiritual Awareness Week, we're going to summarize key components of a Christian education as a way to highlight the importance of Christian education. First, God is the source of education. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, Genesis 1:1. The all-wise personal God spoke forth creation, the heavens and the earth. The universe finds its constant frame from the first and constant command of the living God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. God's archetypal wisdom is the necessary foundation for ectypal wisdom, our wisdom. Archetypal means original, and ectypal means a copy. Think of a sunset and a painting of a sunset. God's wisdom is uncreated and original, whereas our wisdom is a created copy of the original. There is a semblance, yet a total difference between the two. Apart from God's wise speech structuring the world and our lives to perceive and experience the world, education would have no meaning, no basis, no reality. Education would be a contradiction. In other words, education boasts of God's presence and glory. All that we learn about the world and ourselves is a learning and discovering of the knowledge of God. Reality is the divine classroom. There is no molecule of existence and no field of study detached from this necessary relationship to God's speech in nature and in covenant. The same all-wise speech of God that created the heavens and the earth spoke forth humanity in God's very own image. Rational, relational, responsible creatures, learners by nature. God created each of us uniquely to bear His image and wise rule over the earth. Genesis 1:26 through 27 states, "Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the heaven, and over the livestock, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth." So God created man in His own image. In the image of God, He created him. Male and female, He created them. So the source of education is God's self-giving speech, creating a finite classroom of infinite study. The substance and heart of education is the development of each individual, each invaluable human life, in love for God and neighbor. The reason and purpose for education is for each of us to enjoy God and glorify Him through wise rule over the earth forever. Education is foundationally about a covenantal relationship between God and His creatures made in His image. Teachers find their meaning in this context. The teacher is a fellow image bearer and learner by nature. The teacher is always a learner before God's curriculum and seeks to support other learners in discovery of God's curriculum. The teacher's goal is to instruct others about God's word in creation, nature, and God's word in redemption, covenant, the Bible. The teacher does not make up reality or impose their own meaning onto subjects, but allows reality created and sustained by God to confront the classroom and form the material and the students. God's truth is not changed to fit the classroom, but the classroom is transformed by the truth of God. These truths mean that teachers are a means of common grace and have the responsibility before God to steward that grace. Teachers are responsible for helping students develop in God's will, discovering the truth of God in every field of study, every inch of the universe, so that students might all the greater increase in their unique potential as wise rulers, unveiling their unique talents and skills to the glory of God. Like the teacher, students, you also have standards that call you to responsible learning. Students are responsible before God and the teacher to be good stewards of God's grace in learning. Students are responsible for taking the posture of learners in order to cultivate and grow in their gifts and in their talents, in wisdom, and to discover how to flourish and bless others. The nature of learners is foundational also to education. The learner is an image bearer, a personal agent, one who is never static or passive, but always active and always dynamic, always choosing to hear and not to hear, to obey and not to obey, to do homework or to put it off for another day. humans are active agents. Humans are not merely mental, rational beings, but attitudinal, motivated beings, moral beings. Therefore, the learning environment must attend to the motivations and attitudes of the learner. This means that true education is motivating and attitude forming. Only biblical truth can provide a foundation of knowledge that supports students' motivations and ultimate life purposes. Biblical truth gives students a firm ground on the nature of God, the nature of ourselves, and the nature of the universe that forges an ethical motivation that helps students enter into the lives of others, serving others, and enabling them to overcome sin, tensions, and trials along the way. It is the gospel that frees education from fallen assumptions about God, ourselves, and the world to redeemed and redeeming truths. So the essence of education is communion with God. God confronts each of us through His speech in creation and in covenant. There is no subject of study outside of communion, outside of revelation and praise to God's nature and character. True education offers the truth of the gospel to all students in hopes that students taste and see that the Lord is good. Psalms 34:8. As Christ says, "Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest." May the knowledge of the gospel lead teachers and students out of sinful rebellion and into grace, out of darkness and into the light of the glory of God in the face of Jesus Christ in all things.